Welcome to the Theater of Others podcast. I'm Adam Marple.
And I'm Dr. Budi Miller.
And we're the co-artistic directors of the Theater of Others.
Our goal for this podcast is to build an international community of artists drawn together by a shared curiosity in what role theater has to play in confronting global crisis and creating new, thriving communities.
Each week, we'll peel back the curtain on our own views, debates, and speculations. We invite you to join us in these discussions, even criticize us if need be. Let's find the way forward together.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Budi.
How you going?
I'm well. How are you? Okay.
That's how I be.
Sounding a little different.
Yes, because I have, if you look at me, I officially am my sister.
Okay. That's what it is. That's the
I
change.
look exactly like my little sister, Mia Artrice Miller. Oh, excuse me, not Mia Artrice Dia. Sorry, her married name, Mia Dia. But I literally, I gotta make sure I take a picture of myself because I look like my sister with the beard.
Wow. Okay.
Do you like my look? I'm giving you fresh, shamanista.
I can feel that, and there's new, fresh surroundings as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have things around me. It's fresh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
How are you? You hear my echo? It's because I don't have any furniture.
Why don't you have any furniture?
Because I'm in a house without furniture.
You're in a house without furniture. What happened to all your furniture in Melbourne and the trees around you?
It's still in Melbourne.
Where are you at, Budi Miller?
I'm in Southeast Asia.
Okay. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from home. Okay.
I'm in Singapore.
Singapore. I've been there. I know that place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's nice.
Oh, it's our old stomping grounds. Just there for a lovely visit. Well,
just stomping around.
Enjoy your vacation there.
Yes. I'll be leaving on the 1st.
Okay.
Coming to America with you.
Coming to America.
Coming to America.
Yeah.
How is America?
I plead the 5th.
You're pleading as well.
No. You know what? I just got back. I literally, 10 minutes before I sent you the link, I just got back from watching Our Town, and it was beautiful, stunning. It's a lovely, lovely show, and it was a lovely, lovely production. And it's such an old chestnut of a play, but it has such beautiful, it wraps up the cosmos with the political in a beautiful way. And hearing those things about a time capsule where you fill the time capsule with the Constitution, and hearing these things about, just the little blurbs about America, it hits really hard right now. That's what I'm talking about. It's like it hits really hard thinking about with things happening around us that are way out of control and illegal and everything else. It was interesting to sit with people from mostly the same political stripe, but you could actually see just because of the area that I live in now, all stripes, economically, politically, religiously, and hearing those words and actually just thinking and breathing with everybody. It was a really beautiful moment that I'm not sure would hit as hard outside of this moment in time in America. So it was a very reflective and not somber. Somber's not the right word, but a very nostalgic and reflecting time of what we're going through right now. So
how did the director and the students approach the material?
Well, there was a sense, I feel, and I really want to have a conversation with them and with the director of kind of taking everything with a wink, like not shying away from, it's written in, 1920 or something like that, maybe even before, and not shying away from the conservatism that exists in that script. And also not shying away from the progressivism that exists inside that script. So all those moments where you're confronted with a really conservative thought, there's a wink with it that says, think how quaint of an idea that was back then, and think about this progressive thought that I'm also going to pair this with, and think about how a radical thought that was back then. So there was a real sense of giving sympathy to conservative thought, not a past, not radical conservative thought, not the things that we're dealing with now, not the malicious conservative thought, but just a way of saying, like, you forgive your grandmother for being from another time and still having some of those beliefs, because you know that it's not meant to be what it is now. And it also gives it feels like the progressive thought is not beaten over the head like sometimes it is now. It's given with a sense of like, well, doesn't that just feel fair and right? And so it felt spacious. It felt like an opening, an invitation. There was not, like everybody was crying in that audience. Like the material hits, the material works, the material hits hard, taking the time to just think about life and death and moments. And it was, it was an invitation. It was really beautiful. Really, really enjoyed the production. Really well made.
That's Dr. Taylor Jamal Barfield's favorite play.
It's
of white people.
Yeah. It may be, I've never had the opportunity to do anything with it. I've never done a scene from it, never given it as an assignment, never done it myself. I've been shied away from. That's not true. I feel like I don't want to do anything with it unless I can actually do something with it. So I've always just kind of stayed away from it. I think
Bob Krakauer just directed the second year's last semester in our town. And he was like, we had a really good conversation about it. He was like, I hate this play. I've never liked this play. I said, Bob, me too. I've never liked this play. He's like, but then I realized something. I said, what? And he's like, if I look at it with the detail that I do a script for in front of the camera, there's sophistication in the writing that I've never seen in a production.
Yeah.
I think the reason why, and I was talking to Taylor about Dr. Taylor Jamal Barfield about this, is that one of the reasons why we often see versions of the play that don't resonate. We did it at Chautauqua, and I really wanted to like it. I literally went and saw it 3 times. I tried to figure out how and why I did not like it. And every single time, you know me, I kept falling asleep. I was so bored. And I think the reason why is because it was taking itself so fucking seriously.
Oh, yeah.
That I couldn't just be in the space with these people.
Yeah. It can't be precious because what you're talking about is precious. The preciousness exists for us, the audience. And if you're being precious about it, then you're not allowing me to be precious about it. I think I hesitate to say this because I've seen so many bad productions of this because of, because it requires nothing to do. So it's the cheapest, devisey kind of play that anybody can do. But I think it's a near perfect play.
What? That's what
Taylor
Dr. Taylor Jamal Barfield says.
Yes, I know. You know, I love me some Cherry Orchard, but if given a chance of like the next play that I would direct, Cherry Orchard, Angels in America, or this, I'm gonna take this.
Should we do a?
It's on my mind.
Our town.
I don't know.
We've got enough international representation.
Exactly. Yeah.
To make it a town. We got enough company members to make a town. Okay, you theater brothers out there. Company, what do you think? Should we do our town?
We gotta get you to fall in love with it though.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be acting in it, so it doesn't matter. You're gonna be directing it, and Galtney will dramaturg it, and Taylor will hold my hand. I'm sure. Taylor will be like, Queen.
Yeah.
So, are you saying that this production was healing in some sort?
Absolutely. I cried, and being in public amongst strangers and crying there's something special about that. But there's also the feelings that I process myself. There's the communal laughter. There's a shared thought, a shared question that we all walk out with in the audience. There's the growth of the artists making it, seeing them over the year. There's a lovely cap to a very weird day. Yeah.
It makes me think of the Topeng Pajagan in Bali. Because the mass dancer, before he arrives, he sits with the community, the house that's hired him to perform, or the village that has hired him to perform, or her to perform, or them to perform the full canon of the different characters of the mask work. And the first thing they do is they sit and eat and smoke cigarettes and talk and blah blah blah, and they find out what the general kind of malaise is in the village, and they get the tea. If there's a fight going on, is there like a political thing happening? And that's what helps them decide on what story to choose to tell. And then they are able to, through the mask, because the masks interact with the audience, they're able to actually interact with the audience and bring up the things that are happening inside the village. And a mask dancer, a Topeng Pajagan actor, can heal a village
Yeah.
from his taksu,
Yeah.
from his ability to be something greater than himself and letting God come through the performance. Makes me think of something we should talk about.
Oh yeah, is that what we've gotten together for today?
I don't know. Do you think we should talk about this today, Adam Marple?
Well, we've decided for the entire year to talk about this. So yeah, I think step 2 of the process, yeah, we should talk about it.
Step 2, the process of what?
Theater as a way to self-actualization.
Okay, so what is self-actualization? Self-actualization.
Yeah. So we didn't talk about this last time, and I realized as I was listening to it this past week of like, oh, we're talking about it. That's cool, as if we know what everybody knows what we're talking about when we say this thing. So self-actualization, this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs kind of thing, but it's the pinnacle of that triangle. If you remember that, you've got your food needs met, you've got your love needs met, you've got your work needs met, and then the top of that pyramid, supposedly, not that it's the end of the process, is that once those things are met, realizing full potential, personal growth, achievement, self-fulfillment, the peak of human development. I'm just reading a quote here. What does that even mean? Like, is theater a possibility, a place where you can transcend oneself? Can you grow larger or open yourself up? That's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about this thing of theater as a portal to transcending oneself and becoming together, becoming all, to getting outside of this flesh husk that we have and the concerns that come with it, meaning food and shelter and things like that, and then going, it's not I, it's we. And that I can grow and process and become something better so that the community can become something better. That's what I think. Is that something in your mind of how you deal with it as well?
Yeah, and I simply think that self-actualization is theater, and seeing theater as a vehicle for self-actualization is that theater allows us to release suffering. And when you release suffering, the self is revealed. But as an actor, you have to suffer in the story.
Yeah.
See, this is oftentimes what the challenge is for actors that go into the deep awareness work and they're like, well, Budi, but like none of my characters are like this. I said, exactly. You as a human being are free, but all of your characters are telling all kinds of stories, right? And the story is attached to a physical tension, a movement pattern that we identify as self, which is our ego. The physical tension that we identify as self is ego. And the story is attached to ego, and suffering is attached to story. So if you're suffering, there's a story. If there's a story, you're suffering. That's the awareness that we need to have when we are working on a role, so that we understand that it's all an illusion to begin with.
Yeah.
And if it's an illusion to begin with, so it gives you full license to use your imagination. Your imagination is attached to that illusion of the story. So if you are thinking, if you're imagining, you are in the mind. But once you stop doing that, there's nothing there. That's where the self exists. Everything comes from nothing. But being able to navigate the different states of awareness between self and suffering, self and stories, self and space, relationship to space, self and reaction to space, self and reaction to the world, self and reaction to social mores, then we can repeat it, fully embody it, and leave it because we know that it's not us. That's the challenge that comes up for actors that are using their own personal suffering to create a role. So it's like, so there's no illumination that can happen between the self, the body, and the character because everything is physical. As you know, I say this over and over again, everything is physical. It's purely physical. And so when you understand your body, you can use your body. So what is the title of our podcast today?
Today is, oh God. Oh, I lost it. Where'd it go? The Actor as Shaman. Performance as a ritual of healing.
Say it again because I want to nibble on that because just hearing that makes me breathe.
The actor as shaman. Performance as a ritual of healing.
Wow. That's a big bite.
We're taking on some big topics this year. This is a big experiment for us.
Well, you
Not
know,
that not that you don't do this all the time. Not that you don't lead a monthly thing investigating that kind of thing. Not that your work isn't embedded in all of that. Not that everything that you explore and everything we explore in the company is around that. I mean, come on, not a big thing.
I really love to examine the actor's role as facilitator of healing. And with the facilitation, I mean that we don't get into the preacher mode.
No.
You know, I'm going to facilitate a conversation. I'm going to facilitate an opportunity for you to have an opinion about what is happening to my body. And what I love about what we're doing with our book club this year is that it allows us to look at the traditions of making theater, right? The traditions of talking about theater, of from cultures from all around the world. And so when we open up into those framings, it puts us into a archetypal, canonical kind of way of approaching every piece that we engage with. That it becomes an artifact of my new favorite word of simulacrum.
Simulacrum. Mm-hmm.
Right? Simulacrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of being human like, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a different ways in which that we get to approach these things as actors. You know, in the Budi Miller Taksu training BMTT, we have start at your own personal intersection. And at your own personal intersection, we stretch out and through different ways of training the body. Fitzmaurice voice work, Grotowski, mask work, going into the deep sense of presence, bioenergetic healing, looking at the organs. There's all kinds of and Balinese performing arts training. So we have all of these wonderful ways of intersecting at the point of the actor, the shaman being the one that brings us to God, because it's like the Balinese say, and I firmly believe this, that art comes from God, made with human hands. Art comes from God, performed with a human body. Art comes from God, sung from a human voice, danced in a human body. Whatever your expression of creativity is, it comes from that sense of nothing, which is the cosmos, which is God, and then it manifests into the art that you're making. So taking on the talisman of being a shaman, for example, it's like you're like an amulet. You're an amulet to the art that you're making. And so we get to experience the human condition through your body, which is what shamans do. You know, ancient shamans are like, they'll suck the poison out of your body and take it and then throw it up somewhere else. So it's through the actor's body that becomes the actual alchemic transference of knowledge.
It goes right back to the beginnings of it. Western drama, we'll just say there, from the Greek sacrificial, changing from sacrificing the goat to then the actor stands in for the goat, no longer needing to be the sacrifice, but literally being the conduit is what it is. Being that shaman is I don't need to do this to get God's attention. I can step out and get God's attention, and then I can bring it down here, and using that beautiful phrase that we talked about with Mina, threading the cosmos to the earth, and letting me be the thing that lets you see, feel, experience.
Well, I love this. So you can even change the word shaman to weaver. With Native American medicine, the spider is the weaver.
Right.
It's the spider is the one who created language, who created the word of God. So you can be the weaver within the crafting of your art. I like that. I think the weaver takes away the sanctimoniousness of even shamanism.
Yeah. there's always that point in the work where you say, or I know you experience this a whole lot more, but I get to kind of sit in the class and see it happen where you have to say, like, I'm not trying to negate your religious feeling or whatever. That's not going away, but like you do need to confront that there's a whole other thing outside of there. So yeah, saying shaman has religious overtones, no matter how vague or not defined or soft it is kind of put in there. But weaver, every culture's got a weaver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I like the concept of, and I think if we're really looking at the actors as facilitators of healing, that a weaver would actually coincide with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I'm facilitating and I'm going to weave the story,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
From an indigenous storytelling kind of space, right? Where like I'm weaving the story into the fabric. It's like I'm weaving the story into my body. I'm weaving, and the fabric is me.
Yeah.
I love that, Adam.
I'm remembering something that
I love that, and I love you, Mina. One day I'll meet you.
I remember a couple of years ago, and this was all the Weave Project, Social Fabric Weave, a Social Fabric Project.
Now you're not talking about hold on a second. You're not talking about weaves because I was like, are you trying to have something to say about my hairdo? Because I know I need to get my hair braided. Okay, fine, Adam, fine.
I'm not saying you need to go back to Aisha's. I'm not saying
I am going to Aisha's in a couple of days, and next week I'm going to Aisha's next week. So don't worry, I'm going to be in New York next week.
I remember a couple of years ago something came up. I think this was during COVID. It was just 2020, and this project, Weave, the Social Fabric Project, tackles the problem of broken social trust that has left Americans divided, lonely, and in social gridlock. Weave connects, supports, and invests in local leaders stepping up to weave a new inclusive social fabric where they live. And the choosing of that word was what I remember the most, because it was started by a conservative writer who was trying to, like, seeing the schism that was happening in the world and wanting to connect, lift, and inspire. That's what he was trying to do with this. It's a really interesting thing. But I think what you're saying of like that, being able to reach across, bring me over to you, reach back across. That's that weave motion that we're talking about is.
So I think when you explain it in this way, I feel like we go back to shamanism. I think the action is weaving. Mm-hmm. I think the talisman, the role is shaman.
Yeah.
The role of a shaman is to weave the cosmos into human reality.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to write that down.
That's great. That's beautiful. And it goes right hand in hand with a director of saying, like, the task of a director is to bring the audience to the play or bring the play to the audience. It's the same thing. It's a weave that is happening there as well. Do I bring you to the thing over there? But then I also need the thing over there to come over to you. That weaving, that constant, all night long, 2 hours, the entire night, you're going back and forth. The best theater that I've ever experienced is not a theater where I sit back, and it's not a theater that I sit forward. It's a theater that it's a play that I go back and forth all night long. I can be objective. I'm completely subjective. I can also be it's that Brecht versus Stanislavski thing. It's not this and it's not that. Brecht is too cold, Stanislavski is too warm. I've got to be able to sit back and watch it and go, why did they make that choice? What could they have done differently? How would I be in that situation? And then I can fall completely in love with those people and go, God, yeah, me too. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Have you seen, because we're talking about the actor, right? So right now we're talking about the actor and that ability to weave human consciousness into a ritual of healing, the performance of human condition into a ritual of healing. Have you yet seen Adolescent?
I'm watching it right now.
Oh, Adam Marple.
Oh my God.
Adam Marple.
My God.
Adam Marple. You want to talk about perfection? Perfection. Perfection.
Have you finished it?
I did.
Episode 3, not to give anything away to the audience, episode 3 was, they filmed that first. That's his first on-screen acting. That episode. Can you believe that? He had never done anything else before. That was his first day of filming.
That kid is incredible.
Right? I know, right?
That kid is incredible. But the entire ensemble is extraordinary. There is not one weak link in that chain.
But you know what? Because they treat it like theater. You know they had to rehearse the hell out of that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But not only did they treat it like theater, they oh my God, Adam! Wait until you get to the last episode.
I'm going to watch it after we finish the podcast.
I loved it so much. I literally had to force myself to only watch an episode a day because it's so beautiful. It's and the first episode, like the whole of the one take. You get so enthusiastic about it, but like after that, you forget that it's one take, then it's like.
You forget that it's one take, except for the fact that they actually take time.
Yeah.
They're in no rush because there's no edit. You'll sit in an elevator or you'll sit in a car in silence like we do, which just draws you in even further.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I've forgotten the gimmick and I'm living the experience. It's yeah.
And the reason why I bring this show up is those actors, every single one of them, from the parents to the kids to the police officers to the therapists to teachers, like to the workers inside of the store. Like there's no sense of alienation. Like I'm not separate from what is happening. And so when we get to what happens in the end, Adam, I was speechless. And I was literally experiencing exactly what they were. And when I was done with it, I was like, and please do not do another one. We don't need it.
No season 2.
Don't need a season 2.
4 episodes. Perfect.
What I need to, and then it opened up this conversation with Lucien, because Lucien was the first one to say, have you seen it? I was like, Lucien, I haven't seen it yet. He's like, oh, what do you have to see? Yes, it. And so then Lucy and I had actually started talking about, because his mom has worked at places that deal with kids like that. And this is it's a real problem where young boys are violent like that.
Yeah.
There was actually an actual stabbing that was accompanying the real life story around this.
Yeah.
So this is happening. And all I have to say is the girl that plays his sister, wait until you see Adam. Just wait.
I haven't seen her yet. I only saw her in the first episode and that was it.
For me, my God, I'm going to cry. For me, she's the act. I feel like she's the audience. Out of all the characters, I think the sister is the audience. Tell me what you think after you watch it.
Okay.
And so when we talk about the role of the actor, like it's like these actors, if we're going to say that every single one of those actors is a shaman, and the shaman's role is to weave the cosmos into human experience so that we have a ritual of healing in the performance. The way in which that they move through their actual rituals of those characters in their lives without any explanation, showing off, but just living fully inside of each and every gesture, breath, look. I mean, like there was, like I said, perfection. Perfection.
It's what that medium does best. I would not enjoy this if it was on stage, and I would not enjoy what I saw tonight on stage if I saw it on the screen. It knows its medium and it knows how to use its way for that. I can't wait. I'm going to watch the last episode as soon as we're done here. So
you need to send me a message.
Okay.
After you finish it.
All right, I will.
I think also, when we look at things like Like I'm thinking of the greats. Okay, I'm thinking of the greats on stage, not their film work, but on stage.
Mm-hmm.
If I put Viola Davis next to Meryl Streep on stage, they both
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
are weaving.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about Viola Davis today and her brand. I'm talking about the hungry Viola Davis that was trying to pay the gas bill.
Mm-hmm.
The hungry Viola Davis that was trying to pay the gas bill was unmatched on the stage.
Yeah.
And there's this ability to disappear so that all we have is the story they're telling. Meryl Streep as Mother Courage in the park.
Oof. Yeah.
When it rained, it just seems that like the rain just waits for Shakespeare in the Park.
Mm-hmm. You get a dry ass summer, but at 7 p.m. every single night.
maybe that's the Rainmaker. Shakespeare in the Park is the Rainmaker.
Yeah, exactly. You got some mad conservative people over there doing some rain dance to get it to rain every single night on Shakespeare.
Oh my goodness, Meryl Streep, Meryl Streep,
Merle.
Mm-hmm. Meryl Streep in the rain, in the park, Mother Courage, digging in the mud,
mopping it up herself,
mopping it up. There's a moment in her interpretation of Mother Courage when the soldier's banging on the door trying to get his pay, and Mother Courage is standing outside, and she's lost all of her children. And the guy's like, give me my money, I'm gonna come in. And Mother Courage goes, no, it's not deep enough yet. It's not deep enough yet. You don't know pain. Those kinds of offerings that an actor gives resonates for a lifetime in the audience. I'll never forget that moment.
Do you think this isn't a fully formed thought? This is a draft statement, so I'm trying to make it up as I'm going along here. But if the production itself and the surrounding, experience, can an actor do that by themselves?
I think so.
Or will it get drowned out by, I've mentioned this before, talking about like the show's never going to get there if the director's not there first, if they're not going to be that satellite dish feeding it back to the actors can't, because they're never going to experience that audience unless the audience is, you're that audience for them. Can one actor do that? Or
Adrian Lester, Hamlet.
Yeah, but okay, that's true. You did have Fa Lady.
And the Indian dancer, Ophelia.
But I mean alone, like Bruce Myers was there, Yoshio Ida were there. Like there were some phenomenal things, and you did have Peter Brook while he was still at his peak doing the work. Sure, you've got some people who haven't gotten there yet, but like if you're the only one that's there.
Meryl Streep does it all the time.
But Mother Courage had Kevin Kline, it had Cameron Manheim, it had Austin
Pendleton. No, I mean like just in her career, not in her career. Okay. In her career.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like that's the skill of the person that's number one on the call sheet to be able to be that representation of it. And the other actors will be wherever they are, because they're all going to be at different levels.
Yeah.
And to require that the human condition be set to a particular aesthetic value for shamanism is not humanity.
Yeah.
Because often what happens is we get so seduced by the communal drug of really intense training and physical training and opening that can happen, that when we go off into our careers, into other parts of the industry, it's not fair to put that obligation on anyone but yourself. Because they are just as right in what they're doing as you are. And that is how you keep from suffering in your work as an actor. Because what often happens is we want everyone to be inside of this, aesthetic value of how we work. Every actor does. It's a dream, right? It's a dream. It's a dream, and it's rare. But if you bring on the collective image of, I'm this shaman, I have my Thespis card, I have my trunk of masks that I bring out when I perform. It will be for any audience and any players that interact with it. That's the God space that I'm going to be bringing through. That's the Godhead that's going to move through what I'm offering. I'm not responsible for how they receive it and how they interact with it.
Neil Simon play?
Which one?
I don't know. That's just my insert any play that is by Neil Simon. I just don't like Neil Simon. Is it?
Well, just go into your clown, because clown is. I mean, the clown is that's the ancient shaman of all time, right? That's when you let yourself just be in the full freedom of not needing to make it funny, just be inside of the moment.
So there are degrees of shaman.
Well, there are different degrees of awareness, right? Just like there are different gods.
I can okay. I can go with that because I'm thinking, like what I saw tonight was touching the cosmos. It stopped
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
We all transcended ourselves, and we went 100 years into the future, and it was gorgeous. And then I'm gonna go and watch, you know, and that's not gonna be there. It can
Nope.
still be good, but it's not gonna do that, and it's not written to do that either, or it's not gonna come close to that. So okay.
And also think about, I mean, think about your climbing on Mount Agung. You
Hmm.
climbed it 3 times.
Yeah, yeah,
It was different every time.
right.
Mount Agung didn't move. So everyone is. This is why the Balinese say we are all at the center of our own universe. We're at the center of our own sense of awareness as well. We're at the center of our own sense of how we interact with the world. We all have our own individual movement patterns and physical tensions that are causing us to think, move, and feel certain ways. No two people will see the same scene ever.
Yeah, but what I mean is because we will, a couple of weeks from now talk about the playwright's role in doing this.
Mhm.
And so Thornton Wilder wrote a play wherein he's trying to weave the cosmos to the earth. But a lot of
Mm.
playwrights are just writing a play about a family around a couch.
Mhm.
Again, I'm not saying I am saying, in my opinion, one is better than the other. But in terms of yeah, of course we need to have couch plays. Of course we need to have plays around a family. We maybe
Mm.
have too many of them, but not every play can do what this playwright very specifically was trying to do.
Mhm. I think, well, it's once again, we're talking about how each artist meets the work.
Yeah,
How do you meet the work?
yeah.
As an actor, how do you meet the work?
And knowing what work it is and what it isn't.
Well, yeah, that's part of your work,
Yeah,
the dramaturgy.
yeah.
Acting is dramaturgy and showing up. That's it. Acting is dramaturgy and showing up to suffer.
I said at the beginning of my semester, I said, there's only 4 things you have to do in this class, but really any class in theater. Show up, pay attention, ask questions, don't hold on to the results. You'll be fine.
Boom.
It's that last part that everybody suffers through. Well, it was good yesterday.
Yeah, well, that was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Why are you holding on to that result?
It's like, do you have the same colon as you did yesterday?
Exactly.
You might have
Yeah,
to shit now.
exactly. You're a different person. Heraclitus is
You're
over.
different. You're literally different every single breath you take,
Yeah, exactly.
every single move you make.
I'll be watching you.
You better do. There was a, oh my God, there was a, oh my God. I discovered a new black girl name that I wanted to tell you, and I can't remember it. Sorry.
Okay.
It's just making me think of that. Sorry. You watching me?
Okay.
Because I am your black girl. I'm your favorite
Yes,
black
you're my
girl.
black girl. Yeah.
I think it's time to take a break out of my
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Come back with some provocations.
I think so.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, non binary conforming individuals, you're listening to the stereo sounds of my daughter, JDB. And we're back. Wow, Jack.
Very
Wow.
shamanistic of you.
Okay, Adam Marple. Provocations. Do you have one?
I'm thinking about it. Thinking about watching the Menku prepare for the ceremony whenever we start the training in the summer, and all the things that he needs, all the things he has to prepare for he so that he can be in that space wherein he can communicate for us, through us, to them, back to
Mm.
us. I'm
Mm.
curious about this. What is the ritual practice of the actor? I'm not talking your theater warm-ups. That's a given. You got to warm up your voice, you got to warm up your body. I'm also thinking about the ritual practice of all the things that need to happen to be in the place wherein you can step across the threshold and start doing the thing. Our good friend and friend of the podcast and been on many times, Yao, I remember I marveled at this when he was playing Romeo. I don't know if it's still the same. Maybe it's changed, but I remember when he
His Romeo to Karina's Juliet.
no. This was afterwards. So this was when he had
Oh, that's right. When he did it at the
SRT. Yeah.
yes, yes.
He told me that he wakes up at 7 a.m. and he's got a whole like he has to know what he's doing through the day. There's no like un registered time. There's no oh maybe I'll take a nap or whatever. No, I'm gonna go work out. I need to do a run. I have to stop eating at this time. I'm gonna run lines here. I'm gonna do like there was a whole sense of like this is the regimen that I need to be in the place at 8 p.m. And it was maybe it was once and done and moving on and that's what it is. But like I think of my days like whenever I have a rehearsal day and you know this we've got classes and shit happens and admin and whatever and then like the regimen that I need the amount of time that I need to get to the place so I'm asking the actors out there since we're talking about that what is the regimen that you can create for yourself the ritual that you can create for yourself to start to be in that place and recognize I need this to get that. I need the red flower and the white flower and the holy water and the food and all the things that need to be done to get to the place wherein as we're reading the Natya Sastra and the whole first couple of chapters are just like all here's all the rituals that need to happen so that the play can take place. We need to appease the gods and we need to appease the devils and we need to create the barrier for the actor. What are the rituals you need to put in place to be at the place you need to be at 8 p.m.? Big question.
Well, I'm going to add on to that because I think where Yao uses or how Yao uses those rituals is one. It's a preparation for his body, knowing what the body and the energy he's going to need to play Romeo
Yeah.
on a park stage
Yeah.
in a public performance, right?
Yeah.
So there's a particular stamina that he knows that he's going to need to have, and he can't exert his energy in superfluous ways when he's got to do a Romeo,
Yeah.
right? So in preparation for the role that you're doing, you have to understand what that is that you're going to do. So my provocation is not only understand that ritual, but also the what it takes to be in that awareness that it takes to do those kinds of things where you're taking on the perspective of the character you're working on.
Mm.
And that starts with every single time you're breathing and understanding your sense of awareness. Because what can happen is you could be like the other student that we've had that was always warming up but never warm, always warming up but never warm, is using the warm up of this warm up is going to fix me.
Right.
If I do this ritual, I don't have to do the other stuff. That's how you're constantly doing the warm up and never warm.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, what you're doing is for the whole spirit and self,
Mm-hmm.
and that's individual.
Mm.
Everyone is different. Every single person is different. You have to know thyself.
Yeah. I had a student this week because we're talking about spaciousness. We're reading What's the Story by Anne Bogart, and she asked the question. She said, "How do you remain open? How do you play with Chronos time, watch time, and Kairos time, universe time? How do you get to that place?" And I was just like, "It's different for you. I can give you my answer. how I'm attempting to do it and failing sometimes and succeeding wildly a lot more in my life now. Maybe that's maturity, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's this, that, or the other, but that's me. And I can't tell you that. You have to find that out for yourself. They didn't like that answer, but it's the most honest thing I can say.
That's the truth.
Them. And
but that's the truth.
It's the most honest thing I can say to them. I said,
because time is relative.
Yeah. I said the fact that you're asking that question means that the brain is working on it. It's going to work on it, and I can't give you anything.
The body has to work on it.
Yeah.
The whole body, not just the brain.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, how are we going to know these people have done this?
They are going to go to speakpipe.com/theater of others. Speakpipe.com/theater of others. Theater with an R-E, theater of others, all one word. Leave a 90-second voice message. We'll be happy to play it on air. You can also send us a question, provocation, statement to podcast@theaterofothers.com. We are on the socials, and Johnny would love to talk with you.
Johnny will.
But the only way that they're going to know about the really cool things we're going to be talking about with this series and our book clubs and our interviews and the shows that we've got going on, what do they need to do, Budi? How are they going to know about all of this stuff?
Subscribe.
Yeah.
We come to your inbox every week, 5 years long. Every week you got a podcast about theater. How you going to know if you don't subscribe?
Yeah.
And if you really like us, you could be like my Uber driver and give us 5 stars. All right, no, wait. Here it's not Uber. It's
Lyft.
No, there's no Lyft here.
There's no Lyft there?
It's
Gojek?
Not Gojek here.
Oh, Lord.
Grab.
Okay.
Do like my Grab driver. You give me 5 stars, I give you 5 stars. 5 star, 5 star, 5 star. It's a zero-sum win game.
Closer and closer every day.
We got to win that game, baby. With zero sum. We all gain it. We all gain nothing. Hallelujah. If you really like us, you can leave us a comment. It goes into the algorithm. And all of a sudden, we go from the top 5% podcasts in the world to the top 1% podcasts in the world. And you know what that means, Adam Marple.
I do.
You know what that means. Who's going to be in a podcast and become number 1?
Oprah.
Yes, Oprah will, because Oprah loves her number 1s. And then if Oprah comes, who's coming? Beyonce, of course. Michelle Obama, yes. But you know, Michelle, she got herself her own podcast with her brother. Did you see that?
No, I didn't know that.
You know, she done skipped coming to see us and done doing her own thing.
Why'd she do us dirty like that?
But that's okay. She can come on. We can go onto her podcast and she can come onto our podcast.
That's true. Michelle will be happy to come on. Just a blanket statement. You can bring us.
We're coming on.
Yeah.
You come on here. We're coming on there.
You know, you're always welcome here as well. You haven't responded to our invitation, but you know, it's okay.
But you will one day. Right. We have to get through. We have to get through to her through her gay brother.
Okay. Do you have a secret radio that you could
I'll call up. I'll put my gaydar up.
Right. Exactly. You tell a gay, and they tell a gay, and another gay,
and so on, and so on, and so on. And you know what's going to happen if Michelle Obama comes on? You know she got time for us, and she's coming.
She got nothing but time.
Nothing but time. Mamala. Yeah, Mamala's coming. I mean, look at that. So how are you not going to subscribe with all these potential guests?
I mean, you might as well. You're listening to it now. How did you come across this without subscribing? So, you know.
I know, seriously. Just hit that subscribe button and give us 5 stars.
Don't just subscribe. Find somebody else. Bring them along. You've already subscribed. So now your job is to find somebody else. There you go.
And send us a message. Come on, we want to talk to y'all.
Yeah. We really do.
We love it when y'all send us messages.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love you, Adam.
I love you too.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you in a couple of days.
Is it a couple? Oh, yeah. We're podcasting late this week. I'll see you in a couple of days.
See you in a couple of days.
And for y'all, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Theater Brothers podcast. Make sure to visit our website, theaterbrothers.org, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. A special thank you to Purple Planet for the music you've heard. The Theater Brothers creates a shared community of artists and audiences for the purposes of exploring the most profound issues of our lives and times. We believe the play watches the audience. The audience is necessary, and they are witness to what happens. And you get to be witness to us making that happen. The purpose of this podcast is to open up our process and let you in. We're peeling back the curtain, so to speak, and encouraging you to follow along, to ponder, prod, and question, to join us and criticize us if need be. Being a witness is no passive task and requires much from you. Are you up for the journey? Be sure to tune in next week for our next journey.